I was talking with a few friends last night, and a topic that often comes up is passion. I love dealing with people who are passionate about something, whether they're passionate about starting a business, passionate about their work, passionate about being an engineer, passionate about science, passionate about running, passionate about their sport, passionate about music, whatever it is. That's the best thing you can start with a conversation. Like, find out, if you want to get speaking to somebody, find out what they're passionate about. And as soon as you find that, you'll see that their eyes will light up, because something inside of them loves what they're about to talk about, and it creates this chemical reaction. And for me, that is, without a doubt, that is running. It's also, I've just got back from the gym. It's also strength training, because I know that feeds into me being a better runner. But I was thinking yesterday, what was it like when I first got back into running? So I was 27 years old, I first got back into running, and I was doing all the research, and I was kind of like quickly became very obsessed with running again. And how did that look? What did I do? And how would I do that if something came up in my life that I really wanted to get good at? And when I think about my life, and where I am at the moment and what I want to do with my life, which is, build businesses and then build hubs to get kids into sport, to get kids into firstly running, then sport, then the arts, music and literature and art, etc. And then keep kids in sport. Like, between those 14 to 18, our dropout rate in the UK is about 90%, because once sport stops being arranged for you, kids stop doing sport, and then the most popular exercise becomes going to the gym, and we kind of find that as we want to be essentially more physically attractive to the opposite sex, and then that carries on, and for some people it builds into other things. Then maybe you get to your 30s and you realize you want to play football again, and you realize you want to run again, etc., etc. But if I think about my life, and when later on in my life, when I have more time, I want to study again. So I'm really into philosophy, I'm really into psychology. I want to study and become more knowledgeable in those areas. But I also want to learn an instrument, and I would love to learn the piano. So how would that look for me if, let's say, me getting into the piano, not knowing anything right now, versus somebody who's just getting into running and they want to get their running to a point where they're not a complete beginner, they know a little bit, so they have the confidence that they can go and join a running club. Like, how would that actually look? So if I take my piano analogy, if I was to tomorrow start on my piano journey with a goal of, first of all, it would be to put a goal in place. So it would be to find a quite simple song, a simple melody, or whatever you call it, I wouldn't know, that within a period of time I can work towards. So that would be me setting a goal, because I know I'm a goal-oriented person. And then it would be, okay, YouTube is a great place to learn things, and naturally you will know, obviously because you're on YouTube, that you'll find very, very quickly, within a few seconds, few minutes, like, who knows what they're talking about their topic, and who doesn't. I'd find my probably 50 people, then I'd whittle that down to 25, then I'd whittle it down to 10, whittle it down to 5. I'd get my 5 people who really know what they're doing, and they're able to show you, demonstrate, to talk through playing the piano, and actually show you kind of how to kind of use your fingers, how to use the pedals, etc. So that would be number one. Then I'd literally that night, tonight, if I was going to start tomorrow, I'd get on the internet and be like, what are the best books for beginners to learn, to go from 1 to 7, or the first 3 steps to learn in order to get good at playing the piano. What are the best books that have ever been written? And I would buy those books. So I'd have those books, I'd be reading those books, I'd be watching my YouTube people that I'd go to. And then obviously you want the piano, you want as much piano time as possible. It's like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours. So you'd want to accumulate those hours as quickly as you can, knowing that you're starting later on in life. So it's not like a kid who gets a lot of those hours for free because the piano or the guitar, if you're playing the guitar or whatever, is lying around the house. It's very easy for me to accumulate my 10,000 hours in sport as I was a kid, as I was doing nothing else. I almost felt like my early school years from 2 to 11, all I ever did was play sport. And then at secondary school as well, 11 to 16, all I ever did was play sport. I had so many days off because our school were playing football against another school, we're doing athletics against another school, rugby against another school. I always felt as if I was traveling to play sport, and that was great. So accumulating your 10,000 hours, that's obviously going to be easier if you're playing the piano, if there's a piano in the house. So it might start with something that goes on the table, and I might have the goal, because I'm not going to just throw cash at something, but I might have the goal that I really want a beautiful piano in my house or whatever, yeah? But initially I'm going to start with something that's at my level, that's going to feel and look like a piano, but it's just going to be a cheaper thing that sits on the thing, and then I'm going to be able to have my time and kind of like feel how certain things feel. And then I'm going to find a teacher. And now that teacher is going to be, as with it being the piano and having to show me how to actually do something physically and kind of correct things on the go, that's going to have to be a piano teacher who's as local to me as possible, ideally lives in the same building as I live in now. I can just literally ride the lift up, go and have the piano lessons. That would be absolutely perfect. But somebody who's local to here, who I can go and see as much as I possibly can, as much as I can afford, and get as many lessons as I can. So again, I can accumulate those lessons, and then I can apply what I learn in those lessons to the time that I have at home, and together with YouTube and the books that I'm going to read, very quickly I can hopefully hit my first goal of being able to play a certain melody. And I'm going to speak to the teacher about that, obviously, right? So I'm going to say what is possible if I've got no talent at all, or if I've got lots of talent at all, lots of natural talent, and you just need to hone that in. What is possible for me in the next 6 months? And then what is possible in okay, I'm going to try and hit that 6-month target in 4 months. So what do we need to do in order to do that? And I remember doing that with my driving lessons. I remember fiercely wanting to be independent and have the complete freedom of being able to drive anywhere. It felt like anywhere in Europe, but anywhere in the UK. And so I signed up for as soon as I was 17, in the UK you have to be 17 to drive. As soon as I was 17, I signed up for my theory test, and then I signed up for lessons. I had a couple of lessons. I got my nan to take me out because I lived with my nan, and I booked it was a case of you could only have your practical test, when there was actually slots available. So I just booked slots, and I think I got to 10 or 11 lessons, and I still keep in touch with my driving instructor today. And I was like, I've got a test on this day, and I'd done my theory. You had to do your theory, and 3 weeks later you could do your test. And then I went for my practical test, and he was like, you're nowhere near ready. But I was like, well, the worst case scenario, I fail, and then we learn about the test. And then I passed. I got lucky and I passed. And so that's the same method that you should really use, and not being afraid to fail, because there's going to be loads of failure when you start running. There's going to be loads of failure when you start playing the piano. If you're afraid to fail, you're not going to get very far. So that's got to be a skill that you embrace. But with your passion for running, with that initial motivation for running, you have to embrace that, and you have to feed it. So if you're kind of turning that initial motivation and turning it into a habit and feeding that, so you're running in the nicest possible places, you're exposing yourself to a local running club, and there will be loads of local running clubs near you. There'll be loads of local running groups that go out. And so when you get into the dark winter, on a Tuesday and a Thursday night, probably at the weekend when it's dark, you can go out and be in the safety of a group, and they will know the best running routes, and that's the best way. It's the same with cycling. It's the best way to find out the best routes in the area. And you're going to be in beautiful places running and getting better, and meeting people who are like-minded, who you share common ground with. It's actually brilliant. And the same thing, I'm about to travel again. I'm about to go to Spain, and I'm about to go to Thailand this winter. When I get back to Thailand, then it will be chess club. And for me, I'm terrible at chess, but I love chess and I was good as a kid. It's about getting better at that. So how can I get better at that? Again, it's YouTube, it's figuring it out, it's getting the books again, it's going through things, remembering things, then quickly, like driving or riding a bike, quickly it comes back and then you get better. But you're surrounding yourself by those people, so you're having those conversations. You're talking about running, you're talking about piano, you're talking about chess, whatever it is you're passionate about. Hang about with those people, they're also passionate. You're going to be learning together, and it's exactly like you're moving forward together. So if you make a mistake in running, say for instance one person gets injured because they've been doing too many hills, whatever, people will all learn, and that's the best way to learn, right? You learn from your own mistakes. If you're bright enough, you learn from other people's mistakes. If you learn from your own mistakes, it's a harder lesson. It'll probably go in deeper and you probably won't forget. But if you learn from other people's mistakes, because collectively you move forward faster as a group, you're going to move forward further without setbacks, and therefore you're going to be able to become faster as a runner, or a better piano player, or a better chess player, or whatever it is that you're trying to become good at. I hope you got something from it.